Hey everyone, in this video we're going to be unboxing and setting up the RVolution Player One 8K. Super excited, hope you'll stick with me. Let's do it. All right, I don't want to waste any time. I do want to thank RVolution and the folks over at Let's Get Physical Media. I think that's the name of it. The distributor, they've sent this out for free to me. I do get to keep it after I'm done with it, but they have not paid me anything. I will throw the paid promotion tag up there just to cover all bases, but they didn't pay me anything, and I'm super excited. So as I unbox this, let me kind of give you a little backstory of like what I'm using, just really quick. So currently I have an NVIDIA Shield TV Pro that I have hooked up, and I have a couple hard drives, basically one mechanical hard drive, 6 terabyte, and another 500 gigabyte SSD. And the reason for that is, oh, we got a nice double box in here. Nice. The reason for that is basically I found that for 4K media, the hard drive, the spinning hard drive, just does not work well with the Shield. I typically use Plex or Kodi or Just Player or Emby. Yes, all four of those, because some of my files just don't want to play back on Plex. And so, yeah, I've kind of been bashing that device for a little while now. It's great for what it is, but it is a jack of all trades, master of none, which is great. However, I'm kind of reached the point where I just want the media player to get out of the way. There is a hard drive bay in here. We'll get to that as we unbox it. We can throw a hard drive in there, and I actually ordered an 8 terabyte, 5400 RPM drive. We'll get to that in a little bit because I'll be installing that here. But basically, everything is going to be played back locally on this device. We're not going to be using any streaming apps. We got a nice little RVolution thing here. So what is this? What do we get in here? Well, let me take a look. Oh man, a lot of goodies. So we're just going to leave this here. Batteries for the remote, cool. We got a little IR repeater guy. So if you have a rack or something that you kind of have this in the back of the room, this should allow you to run the IR repeater, and that way you don't need direct line of sight. Super awesome. Something I really like to see is we have a certified ultra high speed HDMI cable. That is really awesome to include in the box. So basically you don't really need anything else other than maybe a hard disk that can be, you know, plugged in or attached to the internal drive bay or inserted in the internal drive bay. But this is awesome. I will be using this cable as well. We get a little couple of Wi-Fi antennas here. I think I saw one other one here somewhere. Maybe I'm, oh, it's hiding. So I will not be using Wi-Fi on this device. I'm going hardwired into my network. I can't talk. So we do have the Wi-Fi antennas. They do come with 3. They just screw on here. You can kind of see that. So then we get the remote here. Nice remote. We'll go ahead and unpack that. Kind of get a quick glance at it here. Oh, this is something I probably should have thought about before, but nice full featured remote. Very, wow, that's quite a few buttons on there. Not bad. We do have double IR repeaters or double IR blasters up top here, so it should hopefully reach pretty well. And then we have all the power cables. So what's great about this is depending on where you are, they include pretty much everything. So this is the guy I'm going to be using. So just a 3-prong outlet, not too shabby there, but you do have stuff for Europe and other parts of the world. So you have your, I don't know honestly the differences between all of these. I maybe should. But yeah, so we have this guy here, and this guy here. So you have all your bases covered within this one box. So what's great about this is if you do decide to ever relocate to another country, like say you're in the US now, or maybe you're not in the US now and you're coming from another country, you can buy this player there, have it shipped over here or move with you, and then plug it in and you have everything. Just as long as you don't throw these out. Don't throw them out. Keep your box, people. Oh yeah, that's a nice sound. So we do get a little user guide here. Well, actually, let me rephrase. This is a QR code. So no documentation included with the player. I would have liked to see a little manual, but honestly, if you're gonna be using a device like this, you probably have a computer that you can already look at the manual on, or an iPad or iPhone or Android, whatever, doesn't matter. But yeah, comes with this little thing, just scan the QR code, you're good to go there. So we're just gonna get the player out here. I'm gonna try to do this without standing up, but we'll see. Yeah. Okay. Oh, perfect. Yeah, we got it. This is probably like very engaging stuff. YouTube, get out of here, box. We don't want you right here. Come on, get out of there. Stay over there. All right, so we'll just take this off and we'll get a look at the player here. Let's take a look on the back real quick. Yeah, so we have something really nice that I like here On the back, we have basically text right side up and upside down. So what does that mean? If you're looking over your entertainment rack or entertainment stand, you can basically read everything, which is super awesome. I wish more companies would do something like this. But starting from this side here, we have two USB 3.0 ports, analog audio outputs and coaxial outputs, an IR extender port there for the IR extender I talked about earlier, another USB 3.0 port, an optical port, HDMI out, a gigabit LAN port, which is awesome, DC12 power extension, and then an on-off switch on this side, and then obviously the plug for that. And then you see the wireless antennas up here, which can be screwed in. So let's flip it over real quick and we'll take a look at what we got on the other side. I'm getting fingerprints over everything. So from the left here, we have the power and another USB port that is, I believe USB 2, it might be USB 3. Don't quote me on that. I'm gonna double check the manual. I'll put a little note here. And then we have the screen here. I'm not gonna take off the little thing yet. And then this is the hard drive base. So let me see if I can open this and then we'll flip it up here. So basically, this is on the front, which is super awesome. That's hot swappable, meaning that you can have up to 32 terabytes of storage here, and then at any point you can just swap it out. You don't need to turn the player off. You can just take the old one out, put the new one in. Say you have two 24 terabyte hard drives, and you have one that's like A through M and then N through Z. You can just swap those out. If you have a movie that you want to watch that starts with an S, you could swap in the second drive, as long as you have them labeled and remember what they are. But yeah, that's super awesome. I love that it's on front, or on the front of the player, so you don't have to worry about it. Or you don't have to like take the player out and unhook it to actually access it. That's super awesome. So we'll close that up there. And then on the bottom, we have a little token, which I'm gonna go ahead and take a picture of because we will need that during setup. We do have little feet on the bottom here. It looks like a little Allen key. So we could, you know, take those off if we need to. I do wanna say that I'm not going to be using a computer at all through this process. That's kind of my goal, is to not use a computer because they say you don't need to use one. So basically I have two hard drives here from my NVIDIA Shield. So I have the 500 gigabyte SSD that I would just be plugging straight up into the front. And then I have my 6 terabyte guy here, my Western Digital. And I will be plugging that up front as well. There is a transfer function on this. So my hope is that when I put the hard drive in here, the 8 terabyte, you can format it with the Arvolution. You don't need to plug that up to a computer. We format it, we can plug these in and transfer files from like one of these drives into the internal bay. The great thing about that is, and it's something I don't see talked about a lot, with these hard drives, especially the bigger one, you need another power outlet. Sometimes power outlets can be scarce in a system and you're constantly having to like figure out where am I gonna plug this in. With this, if you have say two 6 terabyte external drives, you need a total of 3 outlets, which is 1 for the player, 2 for the hard drives. It is what it is. However, with the internal drive, the biggest benefit here is power is supplied from the player itself. So you no longer need another plug to worry about. So it will free up a plug if you already have multiple hard drives connected. You will need to buy a big enough hard drive internally for this, however, but that can save you space for maybe another device, or you just are maybe already maxed out for power. So anyway, I'm sorry, that's a kind of neither here nor there. I digress a lot in this video, but I'm gonna get this plugged up and then we'll walk through the setup on the TV. So everything's set up. I got everything plugged in. The hard drive is inside. So as you saw, like I put it in. and then put it in. So now we're just gonna do the setup. So we're on the interface language. So English is what I'm gonna select. We have a couple options here. We got automatic setup and manual setup. I'm gonna choose automatic setup because I have everything hooked up wired internet. So wired Ethernet. Also, it's going to automatically check for a firmware upgrade, which we see that there is one. So I'm going to go ahead and choose install. So it'll kind of tell you that which one you're on, blah, blah, blah. This is all like par for the course. Now, I do want to say that I have gig service here. So 1 gig down, 1 gig up. So depending on what your connection speed is like, this may be faster, it may be slower, although I'm maxing out the NIC, the network interface card within here because it's only a 1 gig NIC. So keep that in mind, not a big deal. 1 gig is more than fast enough for transferring over from another computer. Although I would like to see like a 2.5G connection. I think that would be even better for transferring larger files. As you know, anytime, any of you that rip your own discs, the 4K discs can get pretty up there. I mean, we're talking about 80 gigabytes, 90 gigabytes, sometimes a little over 100, just depending on the disc, especially if you want to retain all the special features and maybe you want to rip the full menu. Really depends on the disc. I think most discs might be using the BD66 format, which is 66 gigabytes. Some discs are different. Update success, yay. I do want to go into the settings right off the bat. So I'm going to go to setup. You can kind of look at general here. I'm going to change the time format because I'm not military time. So 12 hours. I'm going to keep the screensaver on at 10 minutes. Actually, we do 5 minutes. I have an OLED, so anytime I could kind of help it not get burned in, I guess. So yeah, so it's automatically set the time at 10:51 a.m. Love that, perfect. And we'll back out of here. Let's go over to video next. Video mode is, we're just gonna leave it on auto, which is fine. Auto frame rate, all frame rates, auto resolution. So with auto resolution, basically it's disabled by default. That's basically going to tell this, do I want to upscale everything to 4K or do I not? So with it disabled, it means that whatever playback or whatever file you're playing back, it could be a 480p file, it's gonna upscale that to your output resolution, which currently is 4K, 2160p. If you want all your files played back in their native resolution, then you wanna enable that. However, I'm just gonna let the player upscale everything to 4K. HDR and Dolby Vision settings, I'm gonna go in here and edit. So Dolby Vision output mode, this is going to tell, wow, quite a few things here. That's pretty nice. So we have TV LED and player LED. I'm not going to dive into that in here, but just know that you do have options for both, which is really great. Output menu, SDR, so you can actually have it switch over to Dolby Vision if we want. I'm not going to do that right now. I typically leave the output at SDR for most things like that. So how to output SDR video, you can actually go in here and tell it, I want it SDR, HDR, DV, Dolby Vision. I'm gonna just leave it at SDR. This does have its own tone mapping, which is great. So you can go in here, use Dolby VS10 for SDR video, select yes, and it will do kind of a faux HDR. It will convert it from SDR to HDR. VS10 for HDR video, HDR10 video. I'm gonna leave it here. We can play around with that a little later. Additional settings, what do we got in here? So basically we have everything listed here that we can do over my receiver. So right here, 444 10-bit, that's the max that it can do at 24 frames per second. So I'm gonna turn off CEC though. I don't want my TV remote to control it. So I wanna turn that off. I'm not worried about ARC or anything because I'm literally going direct into the receiver. So we'll back out of that. We'll go over to audio. And then we wanna set the digital audio output mode to bitstream. This is basically gonna send a bitstream to our receiver. So Dolby Atmos, Dolby True HD, DTS Master Audio, all that stuff. So HD audio bitstream enabled, it's just fine. All of these other settings are basically fine. So I'm gonna go back out, network, we're just gonna double check the network settings, perfect. We go to appearance, I'm gonna leave it at the default, but you do have basically the one theme here, no big deal. Additional, what are all these? Oh, autoplay videos, adapt UI for widescreen. So I think this is, if you have a scope screen, yeah, perfect. So 235, you could automatically adapt this. So as you can see, it'll shrink. That's really awesome if you have a 2.35:1 screen. I do not, so I'm gonna hit no, and we'll go back here. And then we'll go playback, language. We have all these the options here, preferences. So very cool. Again, a lot of these don't need to be set up you don't really need to change anything out of the box, which is great. So we'll go down to like photo viewer, Blu-ray, things like that. Awesome. Miscellaneous. We have file browser, firmware update. We can even go in here and check see if there's any. None. Okay. So we don't need anything. And then, yeah, we're going to go into display. We could turn off the display. So if we don't want it super bright, which is great, I like that. We don't maybe want the clock with seconds, we can turn that off. So now it's just going to show up as 10:56 instead of 10:56:40. So if we're going to bounce out of here, we'll go into system, which should bring this up here. And then we can go into our device preferences. Go over to storage.
A few moments later.
So I figured it out really quick. I did reference the manual here, but it didn't fully list what I needed to do. So for reference, I used a hard drive fresh out of the package from Amazon. It was an 8 terabyte Seagate Barracuda drive. Basically, it wasn't showing up anywhere here. So actually, I had to go to the setup, and then I had to go over to system. And then once there, I went to device preferences, storage, and then down here where it says Arvolution HDD, it actually said J Micron. It had not been initialized or anything like that. So I went and initialized it through here because you could see erase and format as device storage. The option there before was use it as like external storage, which technically it is, because you can hot swap these, so it's not internal storage. So I formatted it as a external storage. Won't change the speed or anything. And then once I did that, I was able to go into the Explorer here, because when I originally formatted it, it just showed up as an Android hard drive. I couldn't rename it or anything. So I went in here, saw it, it showed up in the Explorer, and then I hit the hamburger button, and then down here, go down to information, and then it allowed me to format the disk. So I'll go ahead and do that again. Basically, it's pretty quick. This is an 8 terabyte drive, nothing on it, so it just is going to breeze through it. It's going to automatically name it as Arvolution HDD. It's going to finish formatting here. It'll pop up here in just a moment. So now we go in here and nothing's in here. What we need to do is we need to plug in an external drive. I'm just going to go ahead and plug in this 500 gigabyte, I believe it's 500. Yeah, we'll just say it is. Gonna go ahead and plug this into the external, the port on the front. So let's go ahead and do that. It should pop up and say open in file browser. I don't wanna do that. Basically, I wanna go over here and I wanna look up everything here. So I have a Plex folder. So here you'll see I have 4K AV demos. I have 1080p AV demos. So I wanna transfer over HDR10 demos. So I'm gonna click on the hamburger button. I'm gonna go down to copy. We'll go back here and I'm gonna go over to this here, and I am going to, again, click on the hamburger button and I'm gonna click paste. What's great about this is I've not used the computer at all. I've done everything through this device. Now, could a computer maybe do this quicker? Potentially. I'm not saying yes or no. If you plug everything into a computer, it could do that, but you also have to plug everything into a computer. If you don't have an external enclosure for your hard drive, like your internal drive here, then that's kind of gonna suck because you're gonna need to spend more money. You might also just go, oh, you know what, I'm gonna put it inside the computer for now, which means that you have to take the computer apart potentially, like in my case, basically have to take the computer out completely and then install the hard drive, hook everything up, go in, initialize it, transfer everything over, and then take it out and put it in here. I don't want to do that every single time. I also believe that there are ways to transfer this over your network. So I may look at doing that at some point. Okay, so I have transferred most of my files. A lot of the UHDs I'm going to transfer overnight because I have so many. So basically I have all of my demo files. I have Dolby Atmos demos in here. I have my HD movies in here. Airborne, classic, right? 1993. So anyway, we're going to go ahead and dive into here by going to our video right here. So we're going to select that. It's going to ask us our language. So it's English. Perfect. By default, it's gonna look for a registration. So there was a code on the bottom that I mentioned when I was unboxing. I took a picture of. So I'm gonna go over to that right here. So I do not have an account. So I'm gonna create one now. We're gonna go by my email address, which is, Okay, first name, Brad. I think that's my name. Password, I'm just gonna do a standard password. I'm gonna change this later. So we have created the account. Now on my phone, I'm gonna go and find that token in my photos here, and here it is. So we're just gonna type that in. That is registered. We're gonna update the to the latest version of the RVideo app. What's great about this is I'm noticing some things down here. It says added 40 new additional top banners in the edit panel. So you can have a bunch of different banners up at the top that will signify what a file is. So it could be 4K UHD, something like that. So connection, we're just gonna select this by default to create your collection. So basically this is gonna keep a backup of your cover art and things like that for all of your movies. Once this gets configured, we'll dive in here. And now we basically want to start adding folders. What we're gonna do is we're gonna start with, let's start with movies. It's gonna ask us where the movies are. We'll go to local drives, which is our RVolution HDD. And then we'll go to HD movies. So we're gonna add the folder HD movies. We're gonna click on the plus icon again. We're gonna add more movies, again, local drive. And then we'll come down here and we'll add in UHD movies as well. So we'll add that. And then we'll go ahead and add TV shows. I'm not gonna add everything that I have gone through here. I'm gonna do that off camera, but I'll go down to my TV shows. So I'm just gonna basically do movies and TV shows. So I'm gonna add the entire folder to here because I have all my TV shows within that folder. And then basically, once we're done, we click on the back button to start the identification. So back, it's gonna search all of those files there. It's discovered 23, and basically we're going over all of the files now. I'm just gonna let it do its thing. So what I like about this is it is basically going to look at every file and actually give us information as like, is it Dolby Vision, Dolby Atmos, DTS HD, Master Audio, things like that. I really like that. The shield just kind of tells you if something's in HDR. It might say, you know, Dolby Digital, or it won't say Dolby Atmos, which I think is it kind of sucks, honestly. But this way we know what everything is right from the get-go. So I'm gonna go ahead and let it do its thing here. It's gonna add quite a few things, and then I'll come back and we'll take a look at the interface and everything else. All right, everything is indexed now, and we can actually see how fast everything is. I was actually surprised. So this is just on the main screen here. If we go off to the left-hand side here, we'll notice that we have a bunch of different options for like movies. What I like about this is, like I was saying earlier, all the 4K Ultra HD stuff is labeled as such. So if I go to Amsterdam here, this is 4K Ultra HD. Dolby Atmos is in Dolby Vision and HDR10, has English, French, Romanian, and Spanish subtitles, it looks like. All of this stuff is really great to have. I really love that that is a feature on there, super cool. Same thing, if we go down to like Bohemian Rhapsody, it will tell us everything that is basically within the file. So we even have HDR10 Plus on this one here, super cool. Again, we have Dolby Atmos 7.1.6, all of that fun stuff. It'll tell us the runtime, everything. They even have like collections. I think that when Twisters comes out and I add this, it'll have both of them here. But again, we're looking at here, it has UHD and HDR10. This is all of the movies that I have. It kind of combined them into one. So both my regular Blu-ray movies, HD movies, even SDR movies like, or not SDR, 480p movies like Tommy Tricker and The Stamp Traveler, basically a DVD rip from way back in the day, it's there as well. So super cool. If we go over to the left again, notice we have TV shows. So here are all of my TV shows that I have. And yeah, we go in here, Black Books, take a look at the different seasons that I have, or the series, sorry. So we have 1, 2, and 3, and everything is laid out right here. I love this, seeing things at a glance. Plex also has a thing where like, I feel like it gives too much away, like the pictures in the episode. So like my wife and I are going through Stargate. I've never seen it. And she's like, don't look at the pictures, don't read the descriptions, because it's just gonna give everything away. So if we go into like SG1 here, and we go into all of this stuff, we have all this stuff on the right, but we could just see the names of the episodes right down the middle here. and we scroll all the way down. There's like 20 some odd episodes, 19 of this season. Everything is in here. We go to one of my favorite shows, The IT Crowd, and again, we have all 4 seasons. So if I go to like one of my UHD movies and load it, so I'll just go to Inception. I'll go over to, you just hit play, and it'll ask me if I want to start from where I was before, and without any buffering or anything like that, it's gonna pop right up. There we go. So now we are playing Inception, much quicker than The Shield that I have played before. I'm not going to play too much of the movie here because of copyright stuff. Obviously, I'll be testing this thing over the next week or two, really diving in and making sure I'm not running into any issues. The biggest issue I had with The Shield was just stuttery playback and things like that, and I'm hoping I don't get any of that. So with that said, if you guys have enjoyed this video, please feel free to hit the thumbs up. Also, do you have an Arvolution player? Are you interested in this player? Let me know in the comment section down below, and I'm really anxious to dive in and really test it out. So until next time, I will catch you guys in the next video.